Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Biochemistry by Dr. Tejas Shah. Today the topic is a urea cycle under the protein metabolism, where we will see about the main pathway of the urea cycle, its steps, regulations, energetic and significance. So before we start, let us see overview about the urea cycle. As we have seen, under the catabolism, amino acids will liberate the nitrogen part and the carbon skeleton. So the nitrogen part, mainly in the form of ammonia, enters into the urea cycle, as well as aspartate will also deliver the ammonia into the urea cycle, so as to be further excreted in the form of urea through the kidney in the urine. So if you see the structure of the urea and its sources of atoms, here you can see one carbon, oxygen and two nitrogen. So the first nitrogen is derived from the ammonia, the second nitrogen is derived from the aspartic acid, and the carbon is derived from the bicarbonate. Okay. So some of the important points regarding the urea cycle. It is also called Krebs-Henseleit cycle or ornithine cycle. Why it is called ornithine cycle, that we'll see while we're discussing the steps of the urea cycle. Urea is the major nitrogenous excretory product. As we see, the ammonia is ultimately excreted in the form of the nitrogen part is excreted in the form of urea. Third is the urea. It serves as the disposal form of ammonia, so it is a detoxification of ammonia. It is synthesized only in the liver. It is the very important aspect. You can see how the liver is very important in detoxification of ammonia through the urea cycle. And urea is excreted by the kidney, so it serves as an indicator for the kidney function test, or we can say the renal function test. So now let us see first the important site of the urea cycle. It takes place only in the liver, and in the liver few steps, or the first two steps are taking place inside the liver mitochondria, and other steps occur in the cytoplasm. Now if we look into the main pathway of the urea cycle, here you can see the pink highlighted area shows the steps which are occurring inside the mitochondria, and the rest other steps are occur in the cytoplasm. So if we look at the first step, the ammonia combines with the carbon dioxide and hydrogen to form carbamoyl phosphate. The enzyme is carbamoyl phosphate synthetase 1. In this reaction, 2 ATPs are utilized. Okay, this reaction is the rate limiting step of the urea cycle, and it is a reversible step. The carbamoyl phosphate synthetase 1 is the mitochondrial enzyme. Another type of the carbamoyl phosphate synthetase 2, that is the cytoplasmic origin. So if we see the differences between these two enzymes, the mitochondrial enzyme CPS1 is utilized for the urea synthesis, while the carbamoyl phosphate synthetase 2, which is the cytoplasmic enzyme, is used for the synthesis of the pyrimidine. Here the positive effector for the CPS1 is the N-acetyl glutamate, and the source for nitrogen for CPS1 is the ammonia, while here for CPS2 it is glutamine. Now if we look to the step 2, that is carbamoyl phosphate is now combined or condenses with the ornithine to form citrulline. Ornithine enters from cytoplasm into the mitochondria and combined with the carbamoyl phosphate. With the help of enzyme ornithine transcarbamylase to form citrulline. So whatever citrulline is formed is again leaves the mitochondria, enters into the cytoplasm. Citrulline is present in the milk. So ornithine and citrulline both are basic amino acids, but they do not incorporate it in any tissue proteins because no codons are present for these amino acids. So ornithine and citrulline with the same transporter, ornithine enters into the mitochondria and citrulline leaves the mitochondria so as to enter into the cytoplasm. for step number 3. Citrulline combined with the aspartic acid derived from the transamination reaction of the oxaloacetic acid. So aspartic acid combines with the citrulline to form argininosuccinate with the help of enzyme argininosuccinate synthetase. Here also one ATP is utilized. So here you can see the pyrophosphate is liberated, so it is equivalent to the 2 ATPs. Now argininosuccinate is undergo the degradation to form arginine and fumarate. The enzyme is argininosuccinate lyase or argininosuccinase. Fumarate is funneled into the TCA cycle to form malate, and further it is converted to oxaloacetic acid. And that's why the TCA cycle is linked with the urea cycle. Now the step number 5, that is hydrolysis of the arginine to form urea and ornithine. Here you can see water molecule is added, so arginase is a hydrolase type of the enzyme. So here you can see now urea is formed and ornithine is liberated. So ornithine enters into the cycle and again regenerated at the end of the cycle. So that's why the urea cycle is sometimes called ornithine cycle. So these are the main steps. Step 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 are the main steps of the urea cycle, and these steps 6, 7 and 8 are also shown because the Krebs cycle is interlinked with the urea cycle. Now if we look to the energetics of this cycle, in the first step we have seen the 2 ATPs here utilized, so 2 ATPs are utilized. Again at the step number 3, 2 ATPs are utilized, and when fumarate funnel into the TCA cycle, malate is converted to oxaloacetic acid with the help of malate dehydrogenase, which use the NAD plus as an oxidizing agent, and its reduced form NADH enters into the electron transport chain to form 2.5 ATPs. So if we calculate the 4 ATPs minus 4 ATPs and plus 2.5 ATPs, so net expenditure or net energy expenditure in this urea cycle is 1.5 ATPs. So the important aspect is the urea cycle and the TCA cycles are interconnected, so sometimes referred as Krebs bicycle. So here you can see urea cycle, we already seen it is linked with the TCA cycle with the formation of the fumarate from argininosuccinate. But here the important point is to note is the fumarate, which is acted upon by the enzyme fumarase, and malate is converted to oxaloacetic by the malate dehydrogenase. These two enzymes, fumarase and malate dehydrogenase, have both the forms cytoplasmic as well as the mitochondrial forms. So this shuttle is acting, which link the important major pathway urea cycle and TCA cycle. So this shunt is called aspartate argininosuccinate shunt of the TCA cycle. Now if we see the regulation of this pathway, how the pathway is regulated. So the course regulation is under the starvation and when there is increased catabolism of proteins. It is the long-term regulation by the mechanism induction and repression at the genetic level. So mainly regulated by the substrate availability. Here the substrate is ammonia. So more ammonia is formed, so ultimately more urea formation. So if more ammonia is fed, ultimately the outcome is the more urea formation. So sometimes this regulation is referred to as feed forward type of the regulation. It is in contrast with the feedback regulation, where the pathways are mainly involved to form an end product. Now if we see the fine regulation of this pathway, it is mainly done by the allosteric regulation. So here you can see the first step is catalyzed by the enzyme carbamyl phosphate synthetase 1, which is allosterically regulated by the N-acetyl glutamate, which stimulate this reaction. So N-acetyl glutamate is formed by the combination of the glutamate or glutamic acid and acetyl coenzyme A with the help of enzyme N-acetyl glutamate synthase. So this reaction is further stimulated by the arginine. So arginine is positive allostatic modifier of this step, and N-acetyl glutamate is positive allostatic modifier of this first step of the urea cycle, that is CPase1. Third important part is the compartmentalization. We have already seen that few steps, first two steps are occurred in the mitochondria and rest the steps are occurring in the cytoplasm. Another important aspect here is the end product inhibition of fumarate is inhibited. If we look into this reaction, argininosuccinate is undergo the lysis to form arginine and fumarate. So fumarate ultimately inhibit the same enzyme, but here because of the compartmentalization of the enzymes, fumarate is funneled into the TCA cycle to form the malate. So this end product inhibition is inhibited. So three important aspects under the regulation, that is coarse regulation occurring at the genetic level, fine regulation by the allostatic regulation, and third is the compartmentalization. So if we look at the significance of this pathway, it only takes place in the liver. So liver play a very important role in ammonia disposal. This pathway is important for the detoxification of ammonia, where the toxic ammonia is converted to the harmless ammonia. It is also involved for the disposal of the carbon dioxide. It is helpful in the synthesis of the semi-essential amino acid, that is arginine, which is further utilized for the synthesis of nitric oxide. Ornithine used for the synthesis of proline, which is a non-essential amino acid, and also used for the synthesis of polyamines like putrescine, spermidine and spermine. So these are my references for this presentation. Thank you everyone. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Click the bell button to get all the notifications.